I'm gonna try and talk while I'm working, and I want to talk about spirituality and how we often say make comparisons about what is spiritual and what isn't spiritual, and we kind of call people down off their spiritual high horse and say that doesn't make you more spiritual. I want to ponder that a little bit. What does that even mean, spiritual? What is more spiritual? Obviously, there is a distinction between living from the lower awareness and living from a more conscious awareness. So one could say, you are more spiritual when you are less driven by your lower desires. And by lower desires, I mean being controlled by your 3 lower chakras. You are more spiritual when your natural desires don't control you anymore. Like for me, for instance, myself, I have very few natural desires that would control me. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy or participate in some desires, but the difference is they're not controlling me in the sense that it drives me to some kind of addiction. And so in the sense when this energy no longer controls you, you are more spiritual. You're more in your spirit. You're more in your soul rather than in your base ego that is always functioning from a need, right? From a lack. It's when you are filled full with contentment, you are more spiritual than when you are driven by your passions and desires that you're not able to control. So for me, that would be the definition of being more spiritual, right? I am more spiritual than I was when I was a Christian, because I wasn't in control of myself at all. I could control certain aspects with rigorous law, but I was miserable because it did not resolve the deficit on the inside, right? Now, I am the source, I am the living water, and I can satisfy myself mentally and emotionally and psychologically, which lowers the cravings, the physical cravings, the sexual cravings, right? Which lowers the cravings because you are experiencing the dimension and vibration of being filled full or fulfilled, satisfied in your other energy bodies, mentally, intellectually, emotionally, and psychologically. That only leaves physical, and that can all come into balance to where the physical and the sexual don't control and drive you anymore. See, all of those needs are driven by an inner discontent, and that is the lack of self, the lack of soul that we feel. So we have to connect to our own soul to become more spiritual. Does that make sense?